When I started this class and I found out the first assignment was going through tweets on a hashtag of our choice, I was delighted because Twitter is my favorite social media platform. For my hashtag, I chose AOC because Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez fascinates me more and more as her career continues. Creating this project took a lot of my time and my sanity as I looked through these tweets. As you can see here by my first draft, I did a general compilation of my findings. After some grammatical corrections and a bit of editing, I created my final draft. This entire project ultimately taught me not to make assumptions on the internet. Initially, I thought AOC was highly favored, especially because the tweets I saw on my timeline were in support of her. What I didn't think about was the fact that everything on my timeline was tailored for me. Therefore, since I liked her, so did the tweets on my timeline. What I came to find out was that there were a lot of tweets about AOC during the time period that I collected this data that were against her. This pie chart shows a significant amount of red, which stands for the percentage of people whose tweets were against AOC. This outcome was shocking for me, and it opened my eyes to just how much of my timeline is tailored for me. However, the 100 tweets I analyzed were only from a short period of time and definitely do not represent the entirety of opinions on AOC. Either way, it definitely went against my expectations. Another project we did in class that I had a lot of fun with was the meme project. I didn't take the traditional route and use already composed meme formats. While most of these make me laugh, I was really interested in composing my own. Instead, I decided to make my own from scratch and have an argument or a point of some sort in them, one that made people stop and think. Now, I'll be honest, this project took me a lot of time to get done. I was frantically trying to rack my brain for something funny and couldn't come up with anything. As you can see here, this is my first meme, and it wasn't that difficult to create. The other two I made were more of a tedious process. I had to navigate Photoshop with basically no skills, and it took a lot of time. It was easy to move objects, but not so easy to crop and manage layers. I learned from this project that funny things on the internet are all subjective. What you find funny and what you don't can completely differ from the perspective of others. Things aren't always black and white, a concept that is very prevalent on the internet. You can't always expect someone to agree with you. Next of the projects done in this class is the animated GIF project. I had even more trouble with this than I did with my memes, because creating GIFs without any experience was difficult to learn. Luckily, I picked up a few things from class, and that, combined with the internet tutorials, really helped refine my skills. The first GIF took the longest, because I had to find a video that fit and try to put it on a white background with text. I almost gave up and put the text on the video itself, but I just knew it would look better with the text separate, so I kept working and finally figured it out. The other two GIFs were a bit easier. None of these are perfect, but I did put a lot of time into these. When I was choosing what I would make a GIF of, I tended to think more so of news that was relevant currently and things that pertain to me. For example, I've looked in a fridge and said that there's no food when there clearly was, just like the first GIF. For my second GIF, I couldn't entirely figure out how to get the words to stay on James Harden biceps, but that's something I look forward to learning in the future. For my first draft though, I am proud of how it turned out, and personally, I think it is humorous. Finally, for the last GIF, I just put together something that was interesting to me, rather than focusing on something newsworthy. I thought it would be a fun task to end the stressful composition of the first two GIFs with something pretty and creative. Photoshop was the program I used primarily for a lot of these things, save for the Twitter report, and it was an interesting program. Would I use it again? Not frequently, but I did enjoy learning new techniques I might even use for a future class assignment. All in all, I've learned a lot about how to compose different types of media online. It's been a process, and I'm by no means an expert, but I am significantly better at Photoshop than I was before, which is an accomplishment to me. I've enjoyed thinking of persuasive arguments on the internet and trying to apply them to formats that others of my age would understand. My perspective on the internet itself has broadened during the course of this class because I've spent so much time analyzing and creating things for it. While I'm not sure I could definitely argue on the internet, I'm definitely sure that I have the tools to try. Thank you for listening.